All right. And we are live. The last word, afternoon/morning edition, with myself, Lord Cognito,
Who are you again? I
Ebontis
didn't catch that.
Tatita. Just in case you didn't know, it's Lord Cognito.
Myself.
Myself, just good. English teacher, Ebontis, live on the scene
No.
with all our corrections.
Okay, no, this is a question for chat, real fast. If I ask you a question, do you live in an apartment or a condo, and you say building, does that answer the question? Leave a comment in chat or below because that could still be both of those.
I love that you're bothered with that. And of course, the lovely TieGuyTravis. How are we doing, sir?
The engaged and soon to be married TieGuyTravis.
I asked the question and did not mind your answer. Ebontis was the one who had to interject on my behalf.
How dare you say building?
Although I agree, you did not answer the question.
I did not answer.
Thank you. Yes,
I think he was doing it strategically. I think he was doing it to maybe he didn't want to let the internet know where he's living. You know, he was like,
okay.
I'm in a building. What more do you need to know? I'm off the grid, bro.
Off the grid. Okay.
I mean, I live in a Faraday cage. That's where I live. I live in a Faraday cage.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, building is like trying to hide something. Yeah, it's like what?
Yeah. What if I didn't want to disclose that?
Yeah.
You have literally slept in my house, man.
Shoot that. No, actually, I was in.
And
the
this was pre-show on top of that. So
I'm very
maybe
bad.
That's why.
Maybe
that's why he called it a building. He was trying not to reveal that he's still at your house.
I mean, you're in my house. He's in my house. I just got a.
He's living in the foundation,
revolving
dude.
front door.
Yeah,
he's like Walter White in the foundation, chilling underneath. You know.
Well, this episode's off to a very focused and great start. Cog, what have you been up to, man? We'll switch it up a bit.
Yeah, man, I'm chilling. It's been a lot of Destiny catch up and a lot of echoes to talk about. I've been doing all the echo. I'm finally caught up.
All of it? So much of it. So much.
So much of Act
Lots
1
of content.
Lots of content to talk about. That clearly, when I checked the interwebs, I was like, oh, wow, there is a reaction to this. So I was like, okay, definitely want to talk about that.
There's a reaction on the internet?
Yeah, a lot, but by the great Lord Daddies. The great Lord Daddies were upset. I saw some comments. I was like, wow, this is rare. Not as rare, but you don't see that level of expression, and that kind of thing. Other than that, been playing a little game on the side as a palette cleanse called Still Wakes the Deep.
Heard of it.
And shout out to the Chinese Room. Worst name for a kind of UK studio and all the
Seriously, that's where they're based?
Bro,
I did not know. I would never have guessed.
Thank you. I'm like, oh, the Chinese. Okay, cool. I see what we're doing. Then I'm like, man, this has because the reason why
I mean, are they based in like Koreatown or something in there? Like, I mean, come on, what are we doing here?
Yeah, they're based out of the UK.
The Chinese Room is it's a computer science theory or.
Okay, so it's like an expression,
it's an argument. I would say it's like
really,
it's
like kind of a theorem or something in math, kind of same idea.
Yeah, it's the idea that a computer program can't have a consciousness. So kind of like
getting almost towards the AI
or kind of philosophy thing. So it's sort of like naming your studio like the Turing test or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, thanks for the clarification because I was like, they had the worst name for one of the funniest studios in a different location. But no, it's really cool. The reason why I tried it is I was recommended by a friend, just casually having a drink, and he's like, "Yo, it's the best voice acting in gaming." So immediately my defense goes, "Relax, the best in gaming, like really." So I gave it a shot, and I will say this. I guess for me as a person who I don't hear Scottish voice actors a lot, and this it's horror games based on an oil rig. You start off and it's like conversational Scott. Like you could tell like they're talking like you're on like it would be the equivalent of like American construction workers. It's a slang, it's a grit, it's a vibe. Like it's that in Scottish, and it is very authentic. It is extremely well written. Engine is okay. It's a mix of like The Thing met Alien Isolation, and then when it goes left, it's very claustrophobic. There's platforming involved in it. I don't play a lot of horror games, but a cool mechanic is when you run, you press in the right analog, and you can immediately see first person what's behind you, what's chasing you, that kind of thing. It's not like combat where it's dead space and you're doing this. It's like, hey, pick up this object, throw it to distract so you can get. But the voice acting is amazing. I have to admit, and it gets better and better. And he talks all the time. And yeah, the game starts you getting fired from your job, and it's absolutely hilarious. So look, it's on Game Pass. It's like 6 hours or so. I'm more than halfway through. I'm gonna finish it, but it's good. I do like it. A little rough around the edges with the control and the graphics, but I do like this game. So still wakes the deep. If you got 6 hours to spare, a little palate cleanse, go check it out. I really, really like the game.
Nice.
Cool.
Travis, what have you been up to? I have some idea, but what have you been up to?
Yeah. I'm working on 2 reviews right now. The first one is called The First Descendant, which comes out on July 2nd. I don't think I can talk about it yet, but my review in progress will be live on July 2nd. And then it is a live service looter shooter free to play type game. So like Destiny, my review isn't going to be completed until after the game is out, once I have a chance to like dive into endgame. But I put 45 hours into that game over the past week, so I've played quite a bit of it. All that progress is now deleted, so I'm gonna have to start over like the rest of y'all. They do that with all live service games. They do that with Diablo. They do it with Destiny. So I'm pretty used to it at this point. But yeah, I'll be starting over that loot grind, and I have thoughts. I finished my review in progress last night, so that will be available on July 2nd next week. And then I'm also reviewing Sea of Thieves, which we are doing a 2024 re-review of that. So I started diving back into the Sea of Thieves and getting caught up on everything I've missed there. And then aside from that, Teddy's going to be at my house tonight because tomorrow we're driving to my bachelor party, which I'm going to be at this weekend. So got that going on. Should be a good time. What happens at a Travis Northup bachelor party? No man can say. No man can say what that will bring.
What happens at the bachelor party stays at the bachelor party.
As it should be, sir. As it should be.
Yeah, but mine's not going to have any of the lascivious stuff that you would really hope for in a bachelor party.
No, you're just not going to talk about like the D20 the nat 20 that you hit on that one moment.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. Well, yeah. My only inkling is that I think because Teddy is driving, he's bringing a bunch of equipment. I think we're going to do like a LAN party, something, maybe some Halo. And then I think we probably have tabletop RPGs in the cards, but yeah, it's probably just gonna be a bunch of nerd stuff. I remember at one point,
pretty much what mine was, a bunch of guys hanging out and playing games. That was literally it. So mine was low-key.
My best man at one point pitched the idea of hiring a stripper, and then when she shows up, just handing her a character sheet and being like, "So you're a bard." Just like, and just like making her
that should
making
happen.
her sit down.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
Just like making her sit down and play D&D with us and not strip. Just fully clothed.
Yeah. You need to hire just a voice actor. They show up. I'm here for the bachelor party, but like they're in character the entire time or something.
Yeah, that was a joke. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but it was at one point proposed.
That would be funny.
So
that's pretty great. Me, yeah, it's like I'm kind of eyeing The First Descendant for July 2nd, Once Human on July 9th. Played a little bit of something for #sponsored #ad, however you want to do it. It's called Terrace Land, and if you picture World of Warcraft 20 years ago when it came out, it's kind of like where this one's starting out. It's a MMORPG. It is free to play, but it's actually on your phone. And the way it just kind of cracks me up more, the idea that one, it's free to play, but two, the UIs are completely different between PC and mobile. Cross-play, cross-save, cross-progression, all that stuff. So if you play at home and then take it on the go with you, you can. But it's more the idea that, like, I remember playing games like this and I was like, there's no way something like this would be on my phone. And now it is just on your phone. If it's optimized well, it's running. And if your phone is now one of the more modern ones, some of the stuff is there. Now, I saw something where, Resident Evil, I think Resident Evil 4, like, came out for iOS for, like, $60 or something. I think that was one of the whatever some recent Resident Evil came out and it was like $60, and some people were like, oh, they don't seem to be selling well. And I saw somebody reply saying, I'm not going to pay more than $15 for a mobile game. It's still a mobile game.
Mobile
I'm
game.
not going to drop $60 on a phone game, at least not yet. So the fact that this is free to play seems like pay to look pretty kind of thing. So if they can keep that line drawn, but I mean, when in a dungeon, you actually had tanks and healers and DPS. I mean, it kind of scratched the old MMORPG itch. It was just fun to jump in. I played for like 5 hours and I was already like level 31. So it's one of those that I did not expect to play cover or otherwise, but it's also just kind of interesting to think of when I was playing World of Warcraft and now the fact that it's just in my pocket, almost the same
That
thing
is
is
wild. Yeah.
it is kind of crazy. Been watching all the chaos about Shadow of the Erd Tree, which I have not touched. I will get. I
Wow.
haven't been able to, so it's just I've been busy doing other things, and I know I'll get to it when probably most of the dust settles.
I'm
Of course, I
shocked.
want to.
I
I put
know.
like
That's like the
100
thing.
120,
Yeah.
probably 120 hours or something in that
Mhm.
before. Beat just about everything I could find. I've got Moog cleared, like my save is ready to probably walk over there, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm
Mhm.
just gonna get slapped all over the place when I walk inside there from what I hear.
Heard there was
Uh,
a controversial nerf
um,
recently.
yeah, there's a patch that I've actually
Mm.
not downloaded because it's one where I think they tweaked the difficulty a little bit. I'll probably end up having to
Mhm.
download it just to play it. I think
Did
it
they
was the
bend the knee?
scaling of so in Shadow of the Erd Tree, they did an interesting scaling thing to where when you go into the new zone, there are items you can find that help you scale more to the level of the zone, but they only affect you in the Shadow of the Erd Tree like expansion area. They don't affect the main game. So
Okay.
whether you level up over here, if you're missing these things, even at like say level 150, you're going to feel still fairly weak until you find more and more of these things. So they're trying to incentivize
Yes.
people to go find those so they
Mhm.
can kind of level up with things as they go. And when I play stuff like that, I'm going to go wander around every random nook and stupid cranny to find a lot of that stuff. I probably won't find it all, but I typically find a lot. And it seems like the scaling, if you do find them all, it's like 5% difference in the end. Kind of in the
Yeah.
middle, there's a peak where you would be stronger than you would have been with the patch, but it is very funny to hear, "Oh, Elden Ring's too hard now." I'm like, What happened to
Yeah.
the internet? Like, why?" But I also saw before the game came out, yes, skidly fragments. Yeah, I've heard all the names of those fragments, the skidoo tree
Yes.
or something like that. I forget.
Mhm.
Actually, I heard somebody say in
Bebop
whatever
Kibu.
whatever language, it's actually shadow fragments or something like that, but it's the
Mm.
shadow tree, and it's the way the language is written, but it's like Old English and how it's pronounced. It's really pronounced just shadow or something like that. I saw no idea if like the random tweet was accurate, but I mean,
Like
yeah,
how they spell
that's
jail, the super
yeah, the
archaic way.
G, what is it?
G Gaol.
GAOL. Yeah,
It's GAOL. Yeah.
yeah,
Jail, the Gowl,
the
the Black
Gowl.
Gowl.
Yeah,
The goal.
yeah, I heard that guy's pretty rough too. So there's a
Nah, he's
few.
easy.
Um,
Nah, people are tripping. He's basically just like you go into that fight and he's just like a maxed out like PvP player.
oh
You
yeah.
know, he's wearing like the sweatiest armor and like has all of his poise. You know, so he's really hard to stagger, and he uses like a triple crossbow and you know the most powerful just equipment in the game, and you're just like, oh, you sweat lord. As soon as I got into that fight, I was like, I've killed like 50 of you in PvP. You sweat lord.
Yeah.
So it's pretty fun.
But yeah, I mean, lots of stuff this weekend came out. I went to go see Bad Boys. What is the new one called? Ride or Die. It
Ooh,
was
heard good
fun.
things.
It was
Heard good
fun.
things.
They still have a good time on screen. It's still fun. If you've enjoyed the series, go see this one because it's still right there with.
Best one or somewhat they were trying to say? Or
Uh,
that's hyperbolic to say.
man, one is iconic alone for the Porsche. For me, just the final portion, the Cobra is just like. It's like, man, you got shot. Must have changed how you drive. He's like, you drive like that all the time. That's the only way you drive going forward.
Classic.
And then him shooting up the Ferrari. There's like iconic moments, but it is a solid entry, way better than I would have guessed.
Okay.
So enjoyed that one. And then it seems like the Quiet Place, or not Quiet Place. What's it called? No, it is a Quiet Place, right? What's the John Krasinski monster horror? It is that. Yeah, Quiet Place Day One. That's the one I want to see. It actually got really good reviews, and for a prequel, that's pretty rare too. So, a couple good movies I'm looking forward to as well.
All right. Cool.
Well, seems like we've been playing a little bit of episode echoes. Cog, you had some thoughts, so share
Yes.
us your thoughts as you've been catching up with this adventure on Nessus we've been on.
Yeah, so look, I've been off the internet for the most part, just finally catching up. I'm still so behind on a lot of things, but now I'm like, all right, let me get into the groove of echoes. For the most part, most of my final shape stuff, chores, most of them done minus the raid. I do have to do that. But yeah, so I started into it, and obviously, you get to the introduction of obviously failsafe, we're getting to introduce her again, and we bring in Saint, and we try to find out what's going on with Nessus. So I thought initially, I'm like, all right, this is decent. However, one thing that I did see that I was like, all right, the infamous tune in, failsafe is collecting all the data. Tune in next week and she's gonna get back to you kind of thing. And I was surprised by that because again, what we did learn was that, when Bungie talked about episodes, they actually chastised themselves into saying, hey, it was too samey, the past seasonal format was too repetitive. And I did get that. So a part of me, yes, rolled my eyes during those sections. But I will say that I did enjoy two things a lot. The first thing was the discovery, I believe, of Enigma Protocol. It was kind of very secretive. You went to these little places in Nessus, then you had to go to a tower, you decode these words, and then it would tell you another location to go to kind of find out, which then opens up a whole new activity, which kind of reminds me of Season of the Splice. And when you're going in, there's a time limit, there's some platforming, there's some, Vex stuff. And I thought that was cool. I guess the reason why I was a bit positive on this whole situation overall is because honestly, I feel if you look at Destiny as a whole, the Vex are kind of the worst. And what I mean by it is that, look, Fallen is cool. They originally had the Traveler. They Traveler left them. Okay, cool. They were the first enemy race we've seen. Cabal, come on. The beefy boys in the building, the Stomp, the little Scions like Travis. Come on. We love them. Gaul, all that. Then we got the Hive. When Destiny's in trouble, you bring the Hive out, coolest race, evil, the logic, we get it, right? The Vex's problem is being Terminators of the time and of the past and the future with as a hive mind, unfortunately, is not interesting to me when there's no one really a single entity to control them. What Echoes did that I've always want Bungie to do is hint that they are behaving differently. They are acting with tactics as if there is like someone is controlling them, which we learn about something called the conductor. So I'm like, yes, this is what I want from the Vex. Like I've been dying for this. And then to be honest, the voice acting of Saint 14 is really great to me. Like he's truly shaken to his core on what he finds out about himself. And this is my overall thoughts. The story is great. The delivery is bad. And in terms of the gameplay, the way they tell you how to do it, the activities themselves, good. But just to tune into next week, that stuff, yes, I agree with the community. That has to go. But overall, I have to admit, I'm kind of excited for it. And I guess my dissenting opinion is that Final Shape
We
is
literally
this.
haven't even said our opinions yet, but go ahead.
I'm talking about not to you guys, to the community.
Okay.
To the community.
So I was like, we haven't
I'm
gone yet.
assuming I'm on an island on this. I already knew. My overall thought is this. Final Shape is this full course meal. You took me to the steak spot, E. It's like you gave me all this. I'm like, oh, okay, baby. Then you say, yo, we got some dessert for you. All right, cool. This Echoes. All right, cool. I'm getting this. All right. This is kind of feels like dessert we kind of get, but you presented it nice, nice feeling, nice. It tasted nice, but just a little bit, and you trying to stretch this thing out. So that's where I'm at with it. I get the vitriol, but I was just surprised at so much vitriol. And again, the final thing I'll say is what this showed me is Bungie's rope is very short. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing that the community is like, bro, we celebrated you, but the honeymoon phase is over. Don't ever do this delivery type again because it's similar to Seasons and we're mad. All right, now my rant's over. I got it out. That's how I've been feeling while I've been watching the videos and the lore guys, and shout out to Bio, shout out to Mylan and stuff like that, who were pretty upset, some kind of thing. So I guess that's why I was surprised when I was watching a little bit, but I'll let you guys cook. I know the thoughts are there.
Travis, thoughts
Yeah.
on Echoes being as we have now finished Act 1?
So I've seen none of the online rage. This is all news to me. But I'm very happy to see that people are finally catching up with me, that the seasons are bad. Because make no mistake, this is a season. It follows an identical model. I think, I haven't looked at why people are upset, but I have to assume that part of the reason people are upset is because of the expectation, which Bungie did to themselves, as they mentioned so many times in so many interviews that this was drastically different and that it was, we're completely changing up the model. It's going to feel totally fresh. And that was seemingly complete bullshit because Act 1 has been season to a T, same model of upgrading a new vendor and doing weekly chores, where you're running around doing public events on Nessus and
With Botany on.
reusing areas and that sort of stuff. The story so far is pretty bad, man, and I think Cog is living off of that hopium. He's hoping that it's
Nah,
going to turn around in Act 2 or Act
I
3.
like the story, bro, and I'm not doing
Do you
that.
like
I'll
the
let you
story
rock.
in Act 1? In Act 1?
Yes, Act 1
Okay.
story is good to me. It's really good.
Okay, I think that's hopium, but
Okay, no,
yeah,
I disagree.
the story's pretty bad. The story right now is, hey, we went to Nessus and Failsafe said that she needed to get data, and then we collected data, and now Saint 14 is having trouble. I'm okay with people being like, look, it's Act 1. Act 1 often isn't that interesting. That's totally fine. And I still have hope myself that they'll turn around Act 2 and 3, that they'll give the Vex a voice and some sort of name or face. That would be great if they could do that, and I think it could turn around the Vex as a faction. But I think if you're just being honest with yourself and looking at what we've got so far, we've got a pretty lame activity with some really questionable mechanics around when we're supposed to be collecting our flowers. We've got
Which
some of
they
the
are working
most
on changing, by the way.
yeah, which they're working on changing. We got some of the most humdrum chores in terms of the quests that you have to do in between each week, where you're walking around collecting things on Nessus and doing like truly some of the most boring shit they've ever put into Destiny. And you've got like a seasonal model that remains completely unchanged. So really, the only thing I've played in the season, the highlights of the season are that Failsafe is a cool character, and I'm glad they brought her back. And that second activity, Breach Executable, I think it is.
Yeah, what am I forget the names?
Enigma,
Yeah,
Enigma Protocol.
Protocol.
yeah,
Enigma
Nick. I
Protocol.
always
yeah.
forget the names. Yeah,
Enigma Protocol is a sick activity. It's a little hard to do matchmaking because people really don't know what they're doing in that one a lot. But it is cool. But aside from that, I mean, I would say this is pretty par for the course for seasons, which is that seasons are usually pretty bad, and this is pretty bad. So I'm not surprised, but I'm also not like overly. I'm not more like disappointed than I usually am. I think the reason people are more disappointed than they usually are is because of the promises that were made by Bungie that seem pretty hollow right now. And also the fact that we came off of a 9 out of 10 and this is like the typical 5 out of 10 Destiny season that we get every single season. So, yeah, I'm not like begrudged or angry at this. I'm just sort
who's
of like, yeah,
pissed?
this is a season. This is a season. They're pretty mid. They're pretty mid, dude.
E?
Yeah. I mean, there's a little bit of both of you guys in kind of my take on this one. When some of the dialogue is like, "Oh, we need to go save Saint," and it's like, "Come back to the helm, go back to Nessus." I saw that about this week, and you're going, "All right, we were on Nessus. Why do we have to go back to the helm just to go back to?" So some of even just the logic and like way you work through the missions. I enjoy the rework of the Nessus planet that we get to actually see the way it could look with more of the growth and everything that's not like just the different color palette is refreshing to see. I hope that's permanent. I have no idea if it's going to be that way, but I actually do hope that that's a permanent change. Um, when it's go to a zone, pick up 5 things, go to a zone, pick up 5 things, go to a zone, pick up 5 things. I think week 2 might have been the worst because one of them was just like do bounties and patrols for the
Oh
story.
yeah. For
That
what is it?
was
The NES acquisition
yeah,
quest.
the NES, which
Yeah,
Something.
it
yeah,
wasn't for the story. It's to get the specimen. I
The
don't even think
specimen
you
thing
have
to
yeah,
the
the
put in the
specimen. And
thing.
this week's
Yeah.
specimen is bugged, by the way. We can't even do the
Yes.
003. That's hanging out there in limbo right
I didn't even know
now.
there was a 003.
Yeah, that's supposed to be this week. It's part of the seasonal challenges, and no one can get to it, so it's supposed to be activated next week.
Mhm.
So for me, I think it is on Bungie to set expectations, and they failed pretty hard when it comes to this episode.
Mhm.
At least for Act 1. Now, I don't know what Act 2 and Act 3 are gonna deliver. Part of it is the idea that many of us thought in our heads that we were gonna get a chunk of content. The weekly delivery takes a lot of wind out of their sails. The come back next week and do a thing.
Mhm.
We talked about this a little bit before the show. Finding Enigma Protocol, that was actually cool because I was pretty fresh on the first day of the episode. Went to Nessus looking for stuff, and I was like, oh, what's this little floating thing? And it had a little code up in the corner. I was like, all right, what's that? Drove a little farther, got a decoder thing. I was like, oh, that's obviously I'm going to go figure out what it says. Tell you to go to another destination. And then, like, you did those a couple times, and you got to find Enigma Protocol. I wish that that type of organic like discovery and the way you explore the planet and something along those lines would be more how the story is delivered as opposed to now granted I know story missions are going to be a little bit harder, but just the way things happen. It's like, hey, if you're driving around Nessus and all of a sudden you like find something, that's a lot cooler than go here, pick up 5 things. So you have both of those within the same episode where this is cool. This is so uncool. I'm tired of like the 18th season delivered in the exact same way kind of thing. There is the idea of a little bit of potential overshadowed by a whole lot of monotony that we're very used to.
Mhm.
So the idea of Failsafe having a whole lot of fun lines to listen to, I don't get tired of her, and
That's
I hope she gets
amazing.
to stay around, maybe be the AI for the helm. Who knows? Maybe she gets to be a little longer enjoyed than just the season because the two personalities is fun. Forget what
Yes.
part of the season or story I was listening to, and it's like, oh, you're I forget what, like, it wasn't decency filter, but it was like
Yes, yes,
compassion
yes.
filter. Oh,
Compassion
yeah,
filter.
I was like,
Yes.
Socialization filter.
yeah,
I love that
socialization
part.
filter is currently turned off as well. Okay, got it. It was just like, just the way they're calling out, like Osiris just being straight to the point, seeing
Mhm.
Saint be vulnerable. I appreciate like the
Yes.
discussion between those two a little bit. But again, it's like this first act, nothing basically happened besides going to the planet and we realize something like can mess with our guardians and Saint feels vulnerable. But we know nothing. And I understand it is act 1,
Mhm.
but you got to give me a little more than what we got. Just a little tease of what's coming in act 2 because right now it's just like there's something, and that's
Mhm.
pretty much kind of where I'm at. And it's the delivery of if it's 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off, 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off, 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off. We didn't enjoy the fact when it was 8 weeks straight stretched out, and now we know it's going to be 9-ish or more
Mhm.
spread out over the course of 18 weeks. So now we're actually
Mhm.
taking it slower. Yet you're getting a chunk, but then you have to wait, as opposed to even if it is 6, 7, or 8 weeks in a row, at least you know there's a start and an end. It's not 2 months out. It was at least a little closer. So it feels like the spacing of the episode is
Mhm.
doing it no favors because now you get this act 1. We didn't even have a cliffhanger for act 1. I'll say that. I didn't feel like there was a little bit of like, yes, there is the conductor out there, so there's a tease,
Yeah, we
but
would announce
visually on
something. Yeah.
screen, there wasn't a
Correct.
whole lot that happened.
It would have been,
So
yeah, Saint walking away isn't a cliffhanger. It should have been something more dramatic, like Saint 14 getting, you know,
captured or
pulled into the Vex
yeah, it's
network
like
or something
Mhm.
like that, where it's like, okay, there's an actual problem, because it does feel a little weird. And maybe they just couldn't do that because Saint 14 has to run trials. You know what I mean? Like there's like in-world reasons that he can't do it that are like attached to game. But I
Mhm.
do think that this is Bungie's first time doing it, and I think they're probably already realizing that like if you're going to separate things by acts, those acts have to have really strong beats where like okay, end of act 1, you want what are they going to talk about in intermission at the concession stand, and I don't think that they have that nailed
Mhm.
really well. It feels like they just arbitrarily chose these, the end of act 1 is just going to be here and the end of act 2 is going to be here rather than like designing it that way.
Mhm.
Also, can we just talk about the fact that Osiris remains the worst character in Destiny? The
Right
most
now, yes.
soulless, boring character in the game.
Right now, they don't have a place for him. That's my
Yeah.
man, but they don't. I could. That's where I agree with Bife on that. Like and I got to be honest. As much as it pains me to say, and I've been hinting this for a while. Destiny bad is associated with this character. That's just the reality. When Destiny's bad, Curse of Osiris,
It is the
Lightfall.
curse.
It is so I think that's part of it, but I do think what I like how they are utilizing. Let's be honest, when it comes to researching or anyone with knowledge of the Vex, he has to be there, right? But we also dealing with a lightless guardian. That you can't put him in super dangerous situations.
Yeah.
So there's a part of me that likes that Sate has taken the forefront of it because let's be honest. Again, I guess where I differ, I agree with you guys on the delivery. They completely miss their whole promise of episodes are going to be so much different. And this is seasons, bro. Like this is literally the season. Like
Yeah.
there's not much you
Yeah, the
change on.
Reddit thread I sent you guys has so many like bold words and lines in there that just feel whiff. It's just they didn't live up to what they had mentioned with regards to
Yeah.
episodes.
Oh,
So yeah,
they got them in
absolutely.
4K. I think Bife got the dude on the couch in 4K saying how different it is, and we're going away from this, repetitive formula that in the seasonal model and all. Absolutely. The thing though, where again, where I differ is the story. I understand, like, hey, maybe you guys wanted, to see the conductor, so to speak, at the end as a fine. Okay, you
You
wanted it, but
literally could have teased this handed figure that is in
right,
the thumbnail of the episode.
right.
You
That
could have
that's fair.
seen, like,
That's fair.
literally from a first person perspective, if a
Right.
hand is controlling the Vex, which it seems
Hmm.
like they have this symbol all over the Vex that has this, like, little, I don't know what you want to call
Right.
it, these little glowing, like, kind of
It's radiance.
Hmm.
radiance coming out of it. Or
Right.
controlling the radio layer. If you see just a hand doing that as like just the final teaser for Act 2, like, hey, you're gonna see this, that would
Right.
have at least given you a little more than just Saint walking off and it's just like it felt
Well,
like
they
Act 1
just
ended on like a flub
it
as
sounds
opposed to a promise of more.
it sounds like Cog, you like the direction they're going in, and you're
Yeah, I
like hanging
love
your
it.
hat on like that of like
I
I
love this
like I
direction.
like Osiris and Saint, and I like the fact that the Vex may be getting interesting, but I still think even then you got to admit like the pacing's really off. Like
Mhm.
how often in between like actual developments you're just like running around doing random bullshit
Right.
for failsafe. They missed the like some sort of like inciting incident at the end of Act 1 that kind of keeps you going like, okay, what's going to happen? And it felt like they were building to it, and then they
Mm,
backed away from it, like they wanted
Yeah.
to
mhm.
hold it for Act 2. So,
Like, okay, I'm gonna
they
let you
I
finish.
feel like they could have had a better. So I'm with you, Cog, in that I
Mhm.
think the direction they're going. I don't care about Osiris and Saint at all. They kind of lost me on that duo. Like I just don't give a crap about them anymore. Which sucks because I Saint 14 was one of my favorites, but they've just I think butchered that story.
Mhm.
Um, but I think I like that where it's going. It's just like every time they execute it, the actual
Mhm.
execution, I'm just like, you didn't do this the way I wanted you to do it.
Right.
And so again, I'm hopeful. I'm hoping
Mhm.
Act 2 and Act 3 are going to be like backloaded, and we're going to get a
Right.
whole bunch of exposition and like new reveals and stuff like that. They have an awesome opportunity to do that. But it's just like the way they're executing it right now, whether it's the beats on the story, the oomph. They're missing a
Yeah.
little bit of like oomph
The
there
seasonal
because
it's
you're
the
doing
seasonal model. It's
Yeah.
yeah, but
the hurry up and wait.
exactly. But they said it wasn't going to be the seasonal model, which I
Correct.
think hurts more. And then also just the fact that like if you're going to do something that big,
Mhm.
like give the Vex a name and purpose, like celebrate it, make us feel like it's like a big thing. Don't make me figure it out in like you know because you're kind of piecing it together as you do the Saint 14 mission, which isn't repeatable, by the way. I couldn't even do it
Which
with
I
D after
love
I did
that
it.
mission, by the way.
Yeah, but you can't replay it. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, so
so
many
if
things
you
are like
miss,
one-off sometimes in this game. It is a
Yeah.
little
Right.
annoying.
Yeah. Because
it's
I looked at it as when you started to fight them and then they're retreating and they're like, wait a minute, they don't never do this. Like, what is going on? Their behavior is so different. And I actually like the mechanics of the strike itself. But I get what you're saying as far as I think for me, where it hit emotionally is Titan. Your man Saint is like, bro, he is the epitome of punch in the face. You know, I'm nothing stopping me. To see him so broken and like I'm a copy. I'm not even myself. I like this thing has shook him to his core. This is the most confident character really in the entire Destiny universe. So I guess for me, what carried it for me most, loud, I really analyze it, is the strength of the voice acting and the direction of where the story is going. But as far as the delivery, absolutely. I'm not gonna push back on that part because it's the seasonal model. So yeah, it's going to be up to them to see how it is. Unfortunately, I think that with the way development is right, all this stuff is already already in
This
the
first
books.
episode is
Yeah,
probably going to be, and again, we got to
hmm
remember, I don't want to apologize for it,
yeah,
but typical Destiny history is whatever is tied to the
right.
expansion is the lightest, is the weakest season and
Always.
episode may go with that model, and
Eh,
that just may be the division of resources and who's doing what and who's working on things. I know they have seasonal teams. We literally talked to
mm,
Tom Farnsworth about that. And, they have the two teams that were working on them. It may be like the episode Echoes team. They'll kind of be polishing theirs, but a lot of them may be working on the Revenant because I
And
forget what the middle one's called.
yeah.
So they may be working
Revenant and
on
then Heresy.
See,
Heresy.
and this
Heresy is
also
the
one
big one.
said something that I do want to touch on. And that's another thing that I like. I've always felt that exos are like not really, humans are in the law, we get it. Awoken with, Marsov, Aldrin, that whole thing. But exos really haven't had their place. And I like what they're doing. I hope that this thing is also Vex and exos could be controlled. Because I feel that would actually turn the law on its head. So again, call me super hopium then for a race that I feel is sorely neglected, always used as this mindless Terminator blob with milk juice in it. Ray Lady or whatever they call it. And I'm
Radiolaria.
like, man, you could do something so cool. And if I think where it's gonna go, man, it could be special. But
I
yes,
I
delivery,
I
please,
think
delivery.
I think they already did. I don't think you're gonna get that. I don't think you're gonna get
Mhm,
because I think they already covered the stuff that they had planned for Exo lore
mhm.
in the Micah 10 storyline. And if you haven't played through that, I do not want to spoil it because I
No, I
don't
did,
think
I
you
did,
have.
I did.
But okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that one I think that's as far as they're gonna go because they
they,
touch on like
mhm,
how
yeah,
Exo numbers work and like some of the lore of like Cade's backstory and Micah's backstory, and I thought that was
yeah.
totally unexpected and
They're
cool.
very
But
unexpected. Yeah.
I don't. I think if you were gonna get a story like that, I think Micah would be there. I think Elsie Bray would be there. I think you'd be looking at different characters. So this, you know, maybe they just focused on the wrong guys because I like Saint 14, but
Mhm.
Osiris just bothers me.
Why he
He
bothers
just
you as
bothers me.
the Vex historian?
I
As the
wish he was cooler because he should be cooler. He's like supposed to be the rogue Vanguard member.
Mhm.
And he just doesn't. He should have the attitude of Cade, and he doesn't. He has like the attitude of like an accountant.
Yes, the
He
man
just
is
bothers me.
he's been broken, stripped, taken full control of by Sabathun. This man has been through the ringer. He's like the
Why do
old senior state elder statesman now.
then why does he sound like he's filing for his taxes
I love it. I love it.
when in his deliveries?
When you want that data, you want that information, you got to go to my man.
I just he sucks, dude.
No, we ain't
Osiris
doing it.
sucks
We
as
ain't
a
doing that. We
character.
ain't doing it.
And I
I'm gonna
think
fight.
that's
I'm gonna fight.
I think that's why he's been relegated to the EU. Like they save him for stories like this that nobody plays, right?
The
But
Vex.
like
Yeah.
he should be really cool. He should be the guy who like goes rogue and acts recklessly and has all this trauma, and instead he's like, Saint 14, I like your plans for us in the future.
Nah.
No, don't do that. And I'm
Nah, we
like,
ain't doing that.
bro,
We ain't doing that.
you
We
are
ain't doing that. He
boring.
was that from the very beginning. When Curse of Osiris happened, he was always that rogue, powerful character with echoes and all that. Once his light was stripped, that's it, bro. You gotta. It's the same thing as Zavala. We ain't gonna be seeing if we think we see Zavala outside a lot. Those days over. Like
So
it's
we get
not
to
gonna
see.
be there.
So are we justifying him being a boring character now?
Well, when your light has been stripped and you can kill and be in the final death, yes, you're not going to be as interesting anymore. And again, my man was violated in the worst way. Literally taking over. Stop the tax man glasses. Literally taking over. An imposter. Like that is the most disrespectful in a dope way. That's why I love the Sabathun character. She was so amazing. She took the most trusted character by everyone and now relegated him into this husk of a
Okay.
remaining
Osiris
thing.
was not the most
So,
trusted
so
character by everyone, first
your
off, by the way.
argument
Mhm.
is that he got stripped of his light and went through all this trauma, and so now he's going through stuff. But I
Yes.
think you're forgetting a little bit of a middle act where he
Yes,
was
yes.
the coach from Rocky,
Oh,
and
so
he like did a training montage and was like super, you know, high energy, up in like, yeah, you can train, you can do the strand,
Yeah,
and
you
his
can do the strand, not him. Go, guys,
But
you
is it?
do it. I can't
No,
do
he's
anything anymore.
supposed to like
he
know that
can do the
he can
strand.
do
He can use
strand,
dark.
Bro,
Yeah.
that's Bungie fault. We ain't get to see it. I see Zavala using his
I agree
darkness.
with you that it
I'm
is
like, why
Bungie's
my
fault.
man got relegated to he can't do nothing now. So I give you that.
No,
I
he
give you that
should be
part.
able to show
I
strand because
agree
he
that it's
doesn't he
Bungie's
have power
fault.
over it? Yeah.
I agree that it's Bungie's fault. That's my point, is that why is he this useless, broken, sad, poorly delivered character who just is always the most boring person in the room when he should be super cool? He should be. But anytime he's on screen, I'm just like, yo, this guy's got nothing to offer the story. Saint 14 is carrying right now. And a robot is carrying,
He's
has more
carrying. I give
emotional
you that this
depth.
season. He's
And
definitely carrying.
no, not just the EXO. I'm talking about failsafe. A robot is
Oh yeah,
upstaging him
she's cooking.
emotionally.
She's cooking.
How is
She's
that
cooking.
happening, right?
She's
And
cooking.
so
They have
I
to
want
figure out
us.
what they're going to do with the character. I thought, to be real with you, Travis, I thought they were going to kill him off. I thought he wasn't going to survive Final Shape. I'll be honest. I've always said that. So I will agree with you. I don't know what his direction in as other than a Vex historian, and he's not in the field. They're not doing anything with him with Strand, which I thought they was going to do. So I'll give you that. It seems like they have no place for him.
I mean, if there's
And
like if he pulls out
Bife
strand
said it.
in like a cinematic to save Saint, if he's in threat in the end of the second, he sacrifices himself for Saint or something with this big strand thing that he does, then maybe. But I'm like, right
Yeah.
now, yeah, he's just like, you know,
I can't fight Travis.
angry man on a bench.
I can't fight you guys right now. I agree where the character is now, but I push back on where the character was. He was always cool and dope. It just things now devolved to this, and I don't know where he's getting
I'll
out of it.
agree. He had potential in Curse of Osiris. I just don't think that campaign was pretty bad, and and then
I remember
after
how
that,
that
just
was disgusting.
every beat after that has made him less and less interesting. And
I
I'm just
agree.
like, yo,
I agree.
I can't look at this guy anymore. It's been too many years.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I
But
can't
he
fight you
should
on
be
that.
cool. He should be cool.
I agree.
Well,
Mm.
as Synergy said, failsafe so far, doing some hard carry in this
Oh, she's
episode.
hard carry.
Failsafe's putting in some work. Shout out to the voice actors who's
Oh,
putting in both sides of that. It's been
the
pretty great.
personality switches are
Yeah.
off the chain.
And just like the random
You know,
call-outs, just
jokes.
like straight
Yeah.
up bashing Guardians for, oh,
Yes.
your decency filter is off or whatever that line is. I'm
You know what-
going.
Yes.
You know what I
Yeah.
think it is, Cog?
What is it?
Osiris in the lore, if you read the grimoire,
Mhm.
he is Master Chief in the games,
Mhm.
in the books.
Mhm.
And then if you see him in cutscenes or in seasons,
Here we go.
he is Master Chief from the Halo live action TV show. That is
I knew it was
that's the
coming.
difference.
I knew it
It's
was
like
coming.
when he
We haven't
when
seen his
he-
cheeks yet, so it must be season 2 or
I
something. I don't
mean,
know.
his cheeks have been heavily implied at
fair.
many points.
No.
Yeah.
Say
Yeah.
all up in those
So-
cheeks. All right, it's fine.
I
Hey,
think
don't see. E.
That's where I'm at with it.
That's an inside joke. You had a funny last word way back in the day about things in control relationship. That was hilarious. Remember that episode?
Been a minute.
That was a funny episode. Salute to that.
But yes, for me, the potential of what's going on with Vex potentially having a figure with the idea that there's just like the rework of Nessus. What is this?
I like. Wait, keep going. I like this.
No,
I
I'm
like
just
this.
saying there is some potential, but right now it landed like a thud on the floor for
Damn.
Act 1 for me. And
Okay.
Act 2 and Act 3 need to build into something because partially this for me as well. I honestly can't decide if it would have been better or worse to be all one act at once. Because if it had been like, go there, do breach executable, find a few things, go to Nessus, pick a few random things, go back, do it again, do it again. That's kind of where the episodes truly need to shift things up. Because the way this is delivered still is in the seasonal model of your weekly, do a basic activity, go do some bounties. Week 2 does not, you can't apologize for for week 2 because they just did that is the epitome of filler. Go do bounties and go find things on the planet. Now 3 with the rework destination, I'm like, somebody's putting in work on Nessus, like redoing the entire destination, doing the look of it. I'm like, where is this? This better stay. And this is one of those annoying things is we'll see Nessus get this like completely new palette and everything like that, and then I feel like at the end of the episode, it's not going to exist, and I'm going to be a little annoyed because I like the new
Right.
look.
No, I like it too. It just
So it's just, I
that's
don't know.
their
Act 2 and
challenge.
Act 3, as Travis said, they need to swing big. I'm hoping they do. And as these are like standalone stories, I also worry that they're going to have like no implications to anything, which is a big worry because they said you'll be able to play these episodes independently of each other and also probably independently of like Final Shape. They have implications of what Final Shape did to the world, sending these echoes out.
These echoes out, right?
But I worry that they're gonna have no long term. This is gonna be a self contained story. Maybe
Mm.
Saint goes through some revelation.
Mm.
Vex has something. Who knows? But then it's like when it's done, is there gonna be any world effect at all? And I worry that it's gonna have that the end is gonna be kind of not much. It feels like almost a villain of the week, and I hope it doesn't land that way. I just don't know if it will.
Yeah, I mean, I think it will because the way I look at it is this is a soft reset for each individual faction in a post-witness world. They have to slowly now start to establish everyone. What happens here? And let's be honest, we all know the elephant in the room. The hottest episode that we're waiting for is with the Hive, with Zivu. What's going on with the
Yeah,
relationship
with
there?
the
Really?
dreadnought.
For me, it's Frontiers.
Ooh,
That's really all I care
it
about.
sounds the
Well, I mean,
coolest. It sounds the
we don't
coolest.
know that yet. I'm just saying of the 3 episodes, the Hive
Yeah.
one going back to the Dreadnought sounds like it has the most potential.
Right, but to Travis's point, what I read, what
That's
is it
the
like?
elephant, though, right? Frontiers is the elephant. It's
Oh,
like
Frontier is the
what is the
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
we
that's the
all
big
waiting for
one.
that. That's the big one. Yeah, I just think they're doing some soft reset world building. But yeah, to your point, yeah, they've got to land where basically this collective story has to be interesting and connected in a way that it has this powerful effect, and that's on them to land that part. So
Yeah, I
I can't
agree
wait
that
for
they are doing collective world resetting,
that.
and
Mhm.
that is exactly what Disney did after Marvel Infinity War, and it went
Right,
over like a wet fart,
and it
and
did
that's
not
what
go
I'm
good.
worried about
That's a good
is gonna
point.
happen here. Yeah.
That's a good point. That's fair. I mean, you had this
Like,
moment.
oh, what's the fallout from the blip or whatever they
Yeah.
called it, the
Yeah,
7 years everybody was gone,
Yep.
whatever.
yeah.
Right
And then
now,
it's like, "Oh, well, we gotta reset all our characters. What's going on with Spider-Man? He missed a couple years of school," stuff like that. And so there's just, like, a lot of, like, world resetting, and I think what we've learned is that that's not fun to watch. I feel like you kinda have
yes.
to skip ahead sometimes and just, like, get to
Mm,
the
I mean,
you know,
can you
yeah. We're in
imagine
the
if
Disney
we?
series mode.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine if there were 2 triggers that happened with the raid being completed, and the
Mm,
cinematic, and the things fly out, and we know episodes is coming, and somebody goes to fly to Nessus, and it's completely redone. It
mm.
looks like the new destination from the missions that we've got, and that's where it starts. And then we actually, the earthquakes are happening when you drive around, and then we get like a message to go investigate Nessus on that 11th or whatever it was. And then when we land, then people are seeing these little decoder things. Enigma
Mm.
Protocol is kind of what starts. You see that one, and then hey, it's like, what have you? I've tripped into the Vex network. What's going on? Osiris sends you a message. Come to the helm. Then you got him and Saint like talking about something going on. There are different ways to deliver the same
Deliver it.
information of what
Yeah.
they've got. And now I'm not saying rebuilding Nessus is an easy task.
Right.
Hands were full, like bandwidth was
yeah, I think
out.
they're buying for time,
Yeah.
which makes
Yes.
sense.
And if
Yes.
this is, reusing assets, doing reworks in smaller places,
And delivery.
I was just saying, as Travis said, it's like
Mhm.
reusing what's there, doing smaller pieces for missions that are part of that effective mission that you're working on, or the activity breach executable is kind of its own thing, Nessus with a different palette to it. They're not building geometry, they're not building lighting as much, they're building like the palette and the paintbrush that covers the
Mhm.
area you're running around in, and then they've got the enemies and stuff in there. Easier to build that than to rework an entire planet when they could potentially be
Absolutely.
using some of the resources you said. Frontiers, D3, whatever else is out there. So again,
Absolutely.
biding time could be part of it too.
I totally agree. And remember, we had the delay just to get delivery of Final Shape, which we all agree, the consensus was good. But it's proof that obviously they need more time, right? And I think that's what this is. But I'm not defending it because again, they should have never came on stream and said it was episode so radically different from the seasonal model. They did that to themselves. So yeah, they're gonna have to get the smoke for that part for sure.
Yep. So Act 1, not the best. See what they do in Act 2, which will be July 16th. So we got, I guess, 3 weeks from that one. Something, I think it's July. Where is that? Too many tabs open. Act 2 starts July 16th. So yeah, we got kind of 2.5 weeks. So
Mhm.
I think this is 5 weeks and the others will be 6 weeks because this is 5 weeks because technically the first week was final shape. So
Right.
5 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 weeks.
Makes sense.
That's one of the big ones. There were Grandmasters were back in the game. I know some people are farming those. We've got the
Cool.
Master version of the raid dropping. I've seen Master raid weapons having 6 perks, 3 in column 3, 3 in column 4. Not guaranteed, but I've seen some people with 5 or like 2 and 3 or 3 and 2 or 3 and 3. Master weapons, being as they're enhanceable now also as opposed to craftable, giving you a lot of chances to get a god roll, get it enhanceable, have it be adept. I don't know what the major point is on adept besides maybe some of those like stat modifiers. I don't know if there's a lot of benefit to the adepts per se, but at least running once and getting a drop and having, 5 rolls instead of 2 is definitely
Mhm.
a lot better. So that's nice to see. Anything else going on this week? At least in game that I'm forgetting about. I'm feeling like
The
I'm
Nightfall was pretty interesting. That new the new weapon they dropped in association with the new stasis excuse me, strand linear
the
aggressive.
burst linear
Yeah,
syndication or
that thing's
scintillation. Yeah.
sick. That thing is sick. It's worth grinding for this week, y'all. Double Nightfall drops. First time using Fireteam Finder. I have to admit, I was pretty impressed. Thought it was cool.
Yeah, you got some things like rewind rounds, rapid hit, bait and
Mhm.
switch. Yeah, it's got
Yeah, bait and
potential
switch on that.
for
Sick.
rewind round, but bait and switch for a linear with DPS.
Mhm.
That'll put in some work.
Yes, yes, yes.
It does seem Enigma protocols rotating back and forth between the corrupted and the
Mhm.
regular. We're back to the regular this week, so I gotta
Mhm.
polish up kind of my efficiency on solo because I got the corrupted solo. I did that multiple times, corrupted solo, and know where all like the timing stuff is. This one feels a little different. And again, I feel like the modifiers for the surges also have a weird rotation because I think the first week when I checked Esoteric's video, because he did it, God knows, like day 1 or something. Um, I swear it was like Solar and Strand. The next week was like Arc and Stasis, which I didn't love, but leaned into Stasis, still used Red Death for keeping me a little bit alive. This week, it's Stasis and Void.
Mm.
So I don't know how the rotations are swapping through this activity. So it is going to have a weird feel depending on who you're fighting and what your surges are. So it seems to have a little bit of rotations between that. I know the surges were on, what was the accidental one they put it on? Shattered Throne. They had the surges
Yeah.
on Shattered Throne, but they did the buff to help with surges and raids and dungeons that they took out. So then they moved the dungeon over to that. So there's a few bumps in the seasonal road so far, it seems like, from what we've gathered so far.
A
We did
little
get
bumpy.
we did get a TWID as we
Yes.
were literally going live. We were chatting, and I think chat was telling us it was there.
Mhm.
So first one's just about Act 2 starting July 2nd. Pretty straightforward. Have you got your big wings yet for your warlock? Your big triangle
Yes.
head?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Not the
crazy.
triangle head from a Silent Hill. No, you got the
Yeah,
No,
pyramid
all the
that's
head.
way.
the that's the Hey Arnold helmet, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's like Stewie, but you took his 2 ears and pushed them up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was Dee was looking at my seasonal thing, and she was like, "Oh, that's cool. What do they have for warlocks?" And I was like, "I don't know. Go look." And she went and clicked Y, and she was just like,
Just
she has
nodding.
she has no good armor, and she really cares about how her character looks in the game. And all of her armor is so gross and ugly, and she doesn't like the season pass armor. And so she's been looking for like a good one. I was like, maybe the seasonal armor. Go and look at that. And she went and looked at it and saw that and was just like,
Slap in
Denied.
face.
That's a
Slap in
no.
face.
honestly, warlock armor, specifically the helmets, are pretty ugly. I'm kind
Lately,
of
it's been getting
surprised.
obtuse. Look at they've
Yeah.
been trying a lot of
Welcome to the
things.
world of Titans, where we have spaceships on our head, and now you guys got a little of that too.
Yeah,
But I mean,
they,
Titans have some pretty sexy helmets, I
I
would
mean, they do
say.
too. I'm saying we've had the spaceship era. I think the
yes.
Oh,
Warlocks
yeah,
are now
okay.
getting the spaceship
Yeah,
remember
so
era.
she
when-
doesn't have any of the old stuff. Like, if it's old and it looked good on a Warlock, she doesn't have it.
Oh,
And
she
so I'm
doesn't
like,
have it. Oh,
I'm
okay, I
like, I don't
got you.
know, maybe because she wants something with like horns or something cool, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Maybe play the cookie event, the dawning when it shows up at the end of the year. I don't really have any advice for her, but she's been playing a ton of the game, by the way. She's like a
Ooh.
Destiny tryhard right now. She's fully caught up on the season,
Okay.
She's like well on her way to getting Kostov.
All right. Yeah, I gotta get
Nice.
that then.
The other thing we got is an update. Iron Banner, and I literally checked Twitter and saw there was some unhappy people with regards to this news. Iron Banner is going to now be a 2-week event and be the main PvP focus
Speaking
for
of
that
stretching
time.
content,
Speaking of stretching,
So-
speaking of, we need a little bit more time.
So we've had our 3 weeks of episode of Act 1, and now you're going to get 2 weeks of Iron Banner. And then we're going to
That's
have...
what we all asked.
to be
No,
hot.
and then we're going to have Act...
to be hot, right?
And then we're
Remember-
going to have...
remember how
this was the sacrifice.
remember how Destiny players were talking about how there isn't enough Iron Banner in Destiny? Remember all those times we've been like, if only it happened 2 weeks a month. That's
Yeah,
what we were missing.
It was the first thing in the suggestion box. You see, they're taking care of the demand in the community that no one wanted.
And then next episode, we're going to have 3 weeks of story, and then we're going to have 3 weeks of Solstice. I don't know if you're going to see a whole lot during that.
Wait, Solstice is back?
Solstice,
Solstice.
it's summertime, yeah.
What we do at Solstice again? I forget.
It tells you
That's
in
that's the one where they be like, celebrate
the
beating this
European
person.
aerial zone, right?
EAZ.
Now,
Okay.
do you think, totally jumping ahead of the game here, do you think Solstice has got any bit of a refresh more than maybe a weapon?
No,
No.
I think they were working really hard on the final shape. That's what I think.
That's
I mean, and that's fair, but that's
they just passed. They got through college. They graduated, man. They try to figure things out. They're working on getting an apartment. They try to figure life out, right? Got to give
I
them time.
mean, I had a job the day I graduated from college.
No,
No big
it's
deal.
a little
It's
different.
not a big
man.
deal, Built different,
Oh,
I guess. I don't know. I just.
I mean,
mess
I
with
did
you.
too, but I'm not over here bragging about it, so it's fine.
Yeah, 2-week Iron Banner, throw a little solstice in between.
Yeah, Solstice starts
pad
August
out.
6th, so if it's July 16th, then you'll have July 23rd, and then you'll have July 30th or 31st, whatever that date falls on. And then August 6th will be Solstice 1, 2, 3, Act 3. So I don't even know if you're going to see an Iron Banner in there. I don't know if they'll overlap that or if that'll be your time to play some trials, because that's the thing. I actually played some trials this weekend. Forced my way through matchmaking to... I was trying to go for pinnacles. There are no freaking pinnacles in this game, man.
The game, you're right.
There are not. I'm
right.
sitting here at 2000. I just squeaked over 2007, and I'm going... And
By the way,
the annoying thing about that is when you play at something where light level matters and you bump up your weapon one number and your damage goes up a decent amount. I'm like, okay, so my infusion matters, but let me try another weapon. I don't have the infusion fodder. God, this annoying loop we're back in right now. Go ahead, Travis.
I wonder what you guys think. Could we take a 2-week Iron Banner as perhaps an indictment of trials?
I don't know.
It's half as much trials, right? They're reducing
it's
how
less
often
trials.
the trials.
I mean, it is interesting. I mean, I guess the question before I answer that question, I was going to ask E a question, which was, I have not stepped foot in PvP yet. I am terrified. How is Prismatic in these streets?
Not anything to worry about.
Fine.
Really?
No, it's not anything you need to worry. I didn't see
It's
it.
not like they added any. It's not like they added any new powers, right? The
No,
only thing
I
that
saw
they added
healing
was-
grenades. I saw
Yeah,
Kvostov.
What's that? What's running these streets, right?
Kvostov's
streets?
popular.
yeah,
Kvostov's popular.
Kvostov is really popular. I'm actually using Kvostov in PvP. Rocket
I gotta
sidearms
finish
are
those.
useless in PvP.
Yeah,
but
rocket
they
sidearms are
suck.
Wow,
way.
they're
I tried
trash.
They
it; they
suck.
suck. I was like, "Wow, this hits for
Wow.
nothing."
All right.
Yeah,
All
you
right.
have to hit them like 6 times to kill them. It's not worth
That's
it.
Like with the
no.
call and undead it? Is
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah, it's
wow.
real bad. It's real bad. So, it's really not that busted at all.
The
No.
guy, oh wow.
No, they
Okay.
didn't
Did
kill it
not
in
realize that.
PvP. So, and then you've got
Okay.
news about Titans that from
Yeah.
Final Shape about the rework that you guys got the stuff with Ben Womack, if I'm saying that right.
Mhm.
I forget
Yep.
how we said it.
Did you guys see some of the scoops from that? Did you guys watch that interview?
Oh, I watched the whole thing.
I
Yeah,
saw
it
Yeah,
was
good
it was
gems.
good.
yeah,
Some good gems, man.
we got some pretty cool stuff. I saw somebody
Yes.
was misquoting the interview.
Yeah.
Cool.
Saw the misquotes going on. Was it about the they didn't know or something?
Oh,
Misquote.
hold on, live tweet dropping. Thanks for the
Uh-oh.
feedback concerning our new Iron Banner schedule. In the timing of this show, within 1 hour, I think, because the twid dropped right when we were starting, right? So like an
Yeah.
hour-ish ago.
Uh-huh.
To be transparent, this is sort of an experiment as we feel at the new episode act structure. Under this new cadence of Iron Banner appearing for 2 weeks in a row, Trials of Osiris will experience fewer interruptions over the course of the act. In the past, Iron Banner would appear once every few weeks. Now, Trials of Osiris will be available for 7 to 8 weekends in a row before the next Iron Banner week begins. You will still have the same amount of Trials Iron Banner to play. This is just a change in how things are scheduled. We'll be watching feedback.
Interesting.
So if you picture somebody like Grenade or Jake, and if Iron Banner's on for 2 weeks, that man's just going to go on vacation for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's what he
That
loves his
is
trials.
what he does.
Yeah.
So it's weird to. I don't know. I mean, I feel like 2 weeks of Iron Banner is going to overstay its welcome. Just
Oh yeah.
because that's part of it. Is like, oh, you get it for a week, but it's like, hey, if you like it, play it for a little while. It'll come back around. But if you're playing, yeah, if you're going to get what you want in about 1 week, especially if it's going to come back later, probably in Act 3 or something.
Mm-hmm. No doubt, no doubt. Reginald Brown had feedback. Bowman had feedback for the
Yeah, it was a
interview,
good interview,
Trav.
Travis, and really enjoyed your review. The comment section, on the other hand, yikes. That's
Yeah.
IGN comment
Comments.
section, though. That's like
Yeah.
everything.
Oh, the
happened?
comments are terrible. It's like all people just like saying, Destiny dead and like other
Oh,
bullshit.
Yeah.
the haters
Yeah,
is
you-
out.
Yeah, oh dude. The haters are out. You can't even mention Destiny as like a reference in an article like, "Oh, here's this game that is a looter shooter like Destiny." And then the top comments will be like, "Destiny is the worst thing ever," and blah blah blah. Bungie
Still
dead.
on it. People, some
Like
people have
half
a
of them
very
will be like,
yeah.
like it's so funny to see the commenters that were saying Bungie's the worst thing in the world and Bungie dead and Destiny's irrelevant, and then when PlayStation bought them, like those same commenters were like,
Oh.
Bungie is the future, and then the opposite happened, where like the people that were defending them were like, now Bungie dead. Ever
Yeah.
since Sony acquired them, they've been dead, and it's just like,
I've
Jesus
seen
Christ.
some of the Xbox guys as soon as they got acquired by players. Oh, now it's gonna go down. Like you see
Yeah.
it based on the allegiances and what flags you fly, on the emotionality of how you
None
feel
of
about
you
it. All of
should
a
be
sudden,
flying any
So
flag for a
stupid.
plastic box or a corporation. Stop it.
Yeah, who
ridiculous.
are you, Sam Alito's wife?
I wasn't ready. I wasn't
I
ready.
was not ready for that. Was a good one, but I was not ready for that
I
one.
was not ready. I was about
If
to
you have
spit
been
this
paying
out.
attention to some news, that one just hit hard.
Wow. Okay. All right. So that's how we doing it
All
out
right,
here.
that's the see. Those are the zingers I appreciate. Keep them clean but
Thank
well pointed.
That was
Damn,
placed. That was well placed, sir.
that was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
You got comments coming in right now in chat. So yeah, there's. I'm dead. dead. It's too good. One person in chat did say, I'm a PvE nerd and I love the idea of 2 weeks of Iron Banner. I can only play a certain amount each week. So it lets them kind of grind out more of the stuff they want over the course of that. Like, this is going to be my Iron Banner time to work on. I think I get that to a point. It feels like Iron Banner is kind of always never quite right. It's like it's here too much or too little. Some people want it, some don't. It just, I don't know. It's one of those things that I feel like it would almost be just as functional in the rotator playlist just down in the bottom corner, as opposed to taking away Trials. I know they kind of want it to be this event to go for, but I feel like Iron Banner is not really a cosmetic thing where they're making a bunch of Eververse money. So I feel like just if they kind of had both camps happier while it was active, Wouldn't change all that much.
Yeah.
They got enough nodes up there now. Just put it in a different one.
Yeah, I'm kind of, outside of I think the last time I got really invested was when was it Tusk of the Boar, the Strand. And I was like, all right, I want that. But I don't know, man. It just
Yeah, the weapons
nothing's
have been pretty lackluster,
yeah, it's been really
hardcore.
I still don't like the format. I'll be honest, when Iron Banner comes around, I do a little get mad that Trials is not there. That's just where I'm at. It needs another rework. I'm still not satisfied.
Well,
Kind of
in this
annoys
one,
me.
it's
They're
going to
both pretty
be
bad modes.
Yeah.
Trials and this.
I like Trials still, but definitely I hate Iron Banner right now. Definitely.
well, now it's going to be 1 week of one mode, second week of another mode.
Yeah.
So instead of the choice
And
that they
then
had before,
Trials the other 2 weeks of the month.
well, this will be 2 weeks, so it'll start. When does that start? Next week? Doesn't quite
Yeah, it
say
should
it,
be
but I
July,
see.
right?
Yeah, so should start next week for Iron Banner for 2 weeks. I guess that last week will be Trials, and then Trials will be going for 8 weeks, it sounds like, until towards the late part of the episode.
Mhm.
I said episode. I
Ah.
say season way too often. The weapons coming back for this episode are Krimil's dagger,
I remember
kinetic
that. I think
aggressive hand cannon. I think that's like a 120.
that's the same weapon for like 3. That's mad. Oh, okay. Continue.
We've had a lot of repeat, and that's the thing. The Iron Banner
Ugh.
loot pool doesn't
The
feel
pool
fresh. It always
doesn't
feels so
change.
stagnant. Yeah.
I agree.
The
You
other
get like
weapon
one
is going to
weapon.
be
Oh, wait, what you got?
Claws of the Wolf, rapid fire, void pulse rifle. Um, fine, but if you don't have anything PVE related on those weapons, I'm not going to be in there very much.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be playing First Descendant and then Once Human and other stuff. Yeah, I'll be busy. Not too worried about that one. Let's see. Getting mini rolls on these weapons will be easier too. You'll need to unlock them first to drop by getting rank 4 and rank 7, but then you'll have a good chance to earn them as post-match rewards. Wins now guarantee a random Iron Banner weapon while also having a very high chance to award an engram on top of that. As for defeats, both weapon drops and engrams have a higher drop rate too. So if you're losing, struggling, those of you looking to be one of Saladin's favorites once more might want to gild the Iron Lord title one more time. Wearing Iron Banner gear, using Iron Banner emblem, completing Saladin's daily challenges will get you there faster. Same stuff as before.
Mm-hmm.
Sandbox updates, Kvastov and Red Death.
Ooh, what happened? What happened?
Recoil for
What
Kvastov. It should come as no surprise to anyone who has used this beloved bullet bouncing auto rifle that there was something different about the recoil. This is the result of a bug. We intended to reduce only the recoil of the special ricochet rounds by 50%, but it was instead applied to the entire magazine. Some people were actually talking about this in reviews where it was saying it had hidden stats. I think Nomad was one of them for sure.
Mhm.
It made the guns substantially easier to use than other auto rifles and predictably led to a huge spike of effectiveness in Crucible. Told you we were seeing it everywhere. It's all over the place. Many players who have the weapon have commented on how good it feels in the current state, and we do not want to remove that exotic feeling
Can I
entirely.
stop you? Can I stop you? That sentence, if you cut it off, many players have enjoyed how good things are feeling. What we want to do is stop. Like, it sounds like they want to stop the fun. Like, if you cut that sentence, it's hilarious to read.
Oh,
Continue.
many players who have the weapon have commented how good it feels in the current state. That should be where it ends. Period. We're going to leave it as is. Have fun with the weapon.
And we do not want the next follow-up is
we don't want
hilarious.
to remove that exotic feeling entirely. But the level it's at is objectively too strong compared to all other weapons
By
in the
the way.
sandbox.
Incorrect use of the word objectively. Move on.
English. I like it.
It's objectively too strong.
Subjectively too strong. For sure.
That's a writer right there. That's a writer.
We will be removing the bugged effect that reduces the recoil by 50%, but as a middle ground, we've increased the base stability by 30 to 72. This will give it back some, not all of that stable feel without leaving it so far out of the band. Ricochet shots, while bouncing rounds is fun in PvE, they're proving problematic in PvP with very high uptime and the ability to be buffed by orbs. The damage they deal both on initial impact and the returning bounce, as well as Kvastov. To neutrally drop its time to kill down to the level reserved for much more difficult to trigger damage boosts. We want to avoid impacting PvE with this change, so we have reduced the initial bonus impact damage against players only from 15% to 5. We have reduced the bullet bouncing damage against players from 18.4 to 4.6 damage, leaving PvE unchanged. These changes will retain the uptime of the perk in Crucible, but the effectiveness down. So
Mhm.
definitely getting, yeah, give it a
Yeah.
week or two when this thing hits, and you'll see less of it in Crucible because that's
Yeah.
part of the reason.
Mm-hmm.
Red Death, lurking
Yeah.
just under the Kvastov coated surface of our current weapons meta is Red Death, which I do like the feel of. As Mini
Mm-hmm.
observes, there is something special about Red Death's recoil pattern. Unlike Kvastov, this was not a bug, though. It was an intentional connection to the original Destiny variant of the weapon, like Outbreak Perfected utilized auto rifles' recoil patterns instead of the more severe pulse rifle runs, giving them a tighter burst spread and higher ease of use. While Red Death is not as far out of line in terms of strength, the high impact family of pulse rifles itself is very strong, and having all the bonus stability provided by the special recoil pattern feels like overkill. So we've experimented with several different tuning options for it. Completely replacing the recoil with the standard pulse rifle recoil
Mm.
felt like it shifted the gun too far away from its origins, so we have instead chosen to reduce the added stability that the pattern provides. This will align the burst spread more closely to other pulse rifles while retaining as much of its unique feel as possible.
Let me get speaker sight because I'm curious. This is one of my Warlock Helms. Orb generation, as it stands, is currently too easy to generate an extreme number of orbs in the Crucible. Oh wow! This plays into several different build crafting levers and making it feel like the only choice in many competitive trial lobbies. While we would like to retain the ability to generate orbs in Crucible to allow players to lean into the healer fantasy, the current volume is not healthy for the sandbox. As a short-term solution, we'll be disabling the orb generation portion of the exotic in Crucible only. Oh, whew, at least it's that. Longer term, we will revisit allowing the weapon to create orbs at a more reasonable rate. These speaker sites are out here. Healing the whole team. Okay, I see what's going on. And they just talk about the banner sandbox. They got that going on. I have more to talk about mid-episode. Keep out for the patch. And we don't want to give away too many things, but we got several quality of life features to roll out. A Destiny 2 reprised map. Is that PvP? In the next episode, did I read that? Are we getting another map?
Destiny 2 reprised, easier to pull back into things because that's
Okay.
coming back. But yeah, in the next episode. So, I mean, you still got 15 weeks to get there.
Okay. Some UI updates to help with clarity and a big feature, quotations, that we're heads down working on for the third episode that we can't wait to share with you all. Interesting. Oh, did you get the super chat from Game of Forte?
Yeah, so
Okay.
Forte, 2 weeks of Iron Banner sounds horrible. My past self would have loved it, but PvP in general hasn't appealed to me. Plus, whoever needs another aggressive hand cannon. Yep.
Yeah, that part.
Yeah,
Agreed,
they're
bro.
just the weapons in Iron Banner. They typically just don't pull me in. Most of the
Yeah,
time, they're
they,
not
and they
worth it.
Is
rarely
it
refresh.
craftable?
Yeah,
Of
that's a good
course
point.
not.
Of course not.
See, that would change things for me. Like, it would also change things for like D. D just wants to get weapons that are craftable so she can pick the perks she wants. Because again, I think crafting appeals more to like a non-hardcore. Like, I just want to play the game and can I work my way to good weapons by grinding XP up and that sort of thing. And so if you told me like, oh, they're gonna put this aggressive hand cannon in Iron Banner, and every once in a while you can get a red border to drop from it and then eventually craft it, she would be like, okay, let's do it. But, she's not going to play it over and over again just hoping that she's going to get a god roll. So,
Yeah.
and I kind of feel
Yeah,
the same way. Like, I don't really want to grind for a single weapon. That's kind of
I
why I
agree.
fell off of the tower defense mode. What was that called?
Oh,
The
Onslaught.
Yeah, Onslaught. I fell off
Mm-hmm.
Onslaught because I'm not going to play Onslaught for like 50 copies of, the scout rifle
Mm-hmm.
that I already grinded for in Destiny 1.
Yeah.
So
My issue also is I get unlucky with the way they do Iron Band in the sense that like you have to hope for the weapon to drop and then you can start to farm it. Bro, I never got multi-mac. I
Yeah.
lucked out on Tusk of the Boar. I never got that to drop. So I'm
Yep.
like, crazy.
Some amazing Witness cosplay. Go check it out. That's actually pretty
Yeah, sick.
fantastic.
That's sick. Destroy us.
Bungie. Yeah. Bungie, of course, going hard for Pride Month. Unsurprising
Yes.
with all of the things that they support. The
Absolutely.
Pride at Bungie and Trans at Bungie inclusion, diversity in equity associations. They've got the new pin out. Looks a little more. Can't tell if the 3D is there that wasn't before. I have one sitting
Yeah,
somewhere.
I got one too.
Uh, new Pride emblem up there as well. Actually, and the emblems look free. So if you want to do the Rainbow Connection or Into the Rainbow Transmat, you've got a couple of those sitting in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm looking at her.
Ooh, artist of the week is fire. Who is that?
Seventh Column Chaos. They're going to be doing like Bungie Bounty. Not really Bungie Bounty, but they were doing a Bungie Love, the charity foundation. They were doing a stream of like drafting players to some of the Bungie fundraiser, like top fundraisers, and Sascaro was on there since he's one of the tops.
Nice. Ah,
And
sounds
then they're
about
doing
right.
like a PvP tournament, I think, with the people they drafted together for them for teams.
Mm-hmm.
Artist of the week, yeah, that first one is the Celestial. Looks like almost Lumina Celestial. That one's fantastic looking. But I think that kind of covers it. From what
Mm-hmm.
I can see, the known issues list has got way shorter since
Nice.
Final Shape, because I remember that thing was more than the page before. It's huge.
Can I ask on PC, are you guys having this problem? The tower has been pretty horrible for me in a sense of like going into menus,
Oh yeah, talk
having
to
my
Master Raffle, and then you have to wait for like 5 seconds
bro,
before the menu pops
sometimes
up. Yeah.
even seeing my character or changing a shader, it's just loading. I notice if I'm in orbit, I can do things much faster of just basic. Okay, so it's not just me. So
Are
is
you playing
PC going
console
through?
too, Travis? Or
I see this on console and PC.
Okay,
I play on mostly Xbox and PC.
okay,
But yeah, I think the game's just getting too big because they had
yeah.
some of these problems before they cut out all the extra planets and stuff they took out. And I think, you add the Pale Heart, and I think the game is like up to 90 gigs now or
well,
something
and like
crazy
there's
like that.
700 things in Vault now, so I know that's messing with like whether it's pulling data or
Yeah.
stuff like that. Because they said
Yeah.
the way I think it was the way they handled the Vault on the older consoles was something different too, with having to do so
Ooh.
much. I mean, it is probably stuff piling up between
Yeah, even
optimization and
like
other
when you
things.
exchange like an item for like Raul or something, or just sometimes there's a delay for the glimmer or the
Yep.
breakdown. There's this data exchange
See,
delay
some of
that
that
I'm
I
like,
was wondering if it was like servers, because I felt like that was like at a server reset when I was feeling that. It's
right.
probably when I play the most. But yeah, if it's you're
I
breaking
I
something
I
down
think
or
I
the
think
delay
it's
for
it's
pickups.
probably it's
What you think, Trevor?
probably just the game is big. That's what I think.
Could be
The game
that
got
network or
significantly
something.
bigger
Yeah,
recently.
it was
Yeah.
a pretty big jump in size for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those where I wonder if this year is use what we've got. You got the
Yeah.
Dreadnought, which will come back, and that'll probably be a download because that's not really in the
Hmm.
game per se at the moment.
Right.
I'm guessing Fickrel and Revenant and Vampire Hunting or whatever we do in next episode. Probably
Hmm.
going to be more Dreaming City and EDZ, so all the fallen destinations you can think of. Dreadnought will be newer, and that'll be a download. And then I do wonder if we do get to another kind of, I don't want to say breaking point for the game, but
Right.
if they add the Dreadnought in for episode 3,
Hmm.
what is the game going to feel like then if we get another piece of content that's even bigger and more and
Right.
all that stuff? So
Right.
it's going to be an interesting year for feeling how the game runs and how they can optimize stuff. But at some
Yeah.
point, the IT department and different sides are eventually they're going to hit a wall. So it's
Yeah.
going to be
And
interesting to watch.
that's why me personally, I don't go super crazy on them when they reuse like Nessus and try to repurpose it because I think that is something that they are trying to figure out and negotiate with all the stuff that they have to add to the game. And I wonder if we get DCV Part 2 again.
But hope not.
Yeah.
When we get enough with the seasons in and out, I don't know if you take more planets away. At this point, they're all kind of crucial to what is available in the game. So I feel
Also,
like,
they said they weren't going to take content out of the game, right?
Oh, you're
yeah,
right.
I
They
feel
did
like
say
they
that.
weren't
You're right.
going to.
I
Yeah.
forgot they did say that. They did make that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. The game
Yeah.
ain't
I
getting no
think they just need
smaller.
to rework there. I mean, yeah.
Hopefully,
They
the
have
new
other technical
frontier,
issues.
it's the new game.
Yep.
Just saying.
I don't think it is.
You think it is a dope?
I don't think it is, no. I think they put the Destiny 2 logo to kind of get people off of the hoping for D3 thing. But I do think that they, no matter what, like if they continue on with Destiny, they need to like drop the older consoles. They need to rework their engine, and you can do all of that without creating a Destiny 3. But I think that I think they're probably thinking about very imminently those changes to.
We lost you there for a sec.
Yeah, it's weird. He just
You lost me.
completely.
Now
Yeah,
you're
it
back.
was.
Yeah, you
He's
just
back. It was so
you just
weird. It was
like
like
dropped your talking
it's
for
like
a
someone just
second.
muted you.
Yep.
Yeah, you back. Mhm.
But yeah, I think they're probably thinking about those issues imminently, especially if their game is already having performance issues. They're probably thinking like, how do we make changes to our audience and our engine? And I think the Xbox One and the PS4 have probably got to go pretty soon.
It's like I think the
Yeah.
PS4 player base drop and the Xbox One combined. What are they, like 180 million consoles or something between those
Yeah.
two? So I don't
Wonder
know
what the
how
player
much of
base
their player
is.
base
Yeah.
is there. I know
Very
they've been.
curious.
Yeah, I was like, I know that's part of their, your daily logins and however many people and your metrics and how
Mhm.
many people are buying in the Eververse. And I
That's
wonder how
right.
much of their metrics are coming from old gen consoles. But at
And
some
with
point,
yeah.
you got to cut the cord. You got to just move forward.
You know what it is too? The problem is those 6, what I call Citizen 6, were those live service games or those live in forever games that are still available on PS4 and Xbox One. And I think that is kind of hurting the transition more than the previous generation with, the Fortnites, the Call of Duties,
Yeah,
the
they're
only one that's
available.
actually doing it is like Grand Theft is making it next year, right? They're gonna do a next gen cutoff because that population is insane still right now as far as engagement. So yeah, it is interesting how that plays out for them. I'm very curious how many people are still playing on older consoles on past gen.
Yeah, be interesting data that we will never get to see because that's between Sony and Bungie and all of the big ones. Yeah, a little shorter episode today, but I'm hoping for more in Act 2 and Act 3 and cross our fingers. If you're not an Iron Banner fan, might be taking a break, but you got things like The First Descendant, which I'll be covering. Travis is going to be reviewing. Once Human is a week after that. And then the new episode is on the 16th, so that timing might work all right. There still are the
Yeah.
things like, what is it? Kinitsugami, Path of the Goddess. That's like the 19th. There's some other stuff in July.
Ooh.
There's some things coming in July, and they're creeping up faster. Flintlock, I swear, is the same day. There's multiple in
Mhm.
July that are almost too close together. I'm like, wait a minute, nope, hold on, too many games again. So right now, if you got some time to enjoy what you got, but July feels like there could be plenty of things to check out if you're looking for a little bit of a break.
Mhm. For sure, for sure. I didn't realize Path of Goddess is that soon.
I feel like it is. Honestly, it's one of those that like I could be completely talking out of my butt, but
I got my eye on that game. Mm, mm, mm.
oh, wrong month. That's why. Yeah. So July 19th,
Oh
Kinitsugami,
wow.
college football,
Oh.
same day.
Oh.
Where Flintlock is the 18th, so one day before.
Yeah.
I feel like there was something else in July, but there's Angerfoot. That one looks funny. That's
Mhm.
Devolver Digital. They always tend to. They usually pick them for a reason, so there's something there probably.
Mhm.
Yeah, those are the two in the middle that I was kind of looking at, besides the later month. And then, of course, Star Wars Outlaws and Black Myth Wukong is going to keep my August pretty busy, I think.
Oh
You guys
yeah.
catch that Acolyte episode this week?
I need to watch that. I've heard it's.
Damn.
I haven't got to it yet, but I need to watch it. It's
First
Mhm.
apparently.
4 episodes were pretty slow.
I've
Okay.
Some of
heard.
them were
Yep.
some dialogue's not great, but they they've got a second half to win it back, and the 5th episode was pretty dope. So
Okay.
yeah, and I really like the actor they've got as the new bad.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one I might check out. Shout out real quick to Zombie with the new super
Oh.
chat. Early time is throwing me off. Have a great great one of the show. Off to Eugene to watch a friend compete at the Olympic
Oh
trials.
wow.
Damn. Yeah, go cheer them on. That's much more important than
Yeah.
us. It's fine. I get that.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
Mhm.
that's I think probably a reasonable place to wrap this one up. I
Mhm.
don't know of a whole lot else going on right now. And there's probably plenty of people, and that's probably the one thing I'm not thinking about too much is that some people are still just doing their final shape thing. Some
bro.
people haven't gotten to echoes. The light start may be intentional because of that, and it may be
We are
one
the
of
hardest of
those.
hardcore to be already completely. I mean, Travis is already done. Like I just got there, so the average person is still buried into final shape. Let's just be
There's a
honest.
lot in there, so I kind of get that. It's just one of those that's
But shout out to the
hopefully
community.
the other acts deliver. I mean, it's got to keep them accountable because if you're going to
Yeah.
promise a
Yes.
big change up and you get a feeling of next to no change up, it almost felt
Mhm.
like a step backwards. Felt like
No, I feel
other
that.
seasons had been better than the way this one started worse than some of the evolution we had from Chosen and Keitel, and we've been seeing better things, and this one just I don't know didn't get things going quite enough yet.
Yeah.
So we'll
Shout
see.
out to the community to actually, like I said, I was surprised at how vocal they were. Like, when you see Bifenum, like, nah, bro, that ain't it. I was like, oh, damn. Quick. They was on it. Like, I was okay, Mylan. All right. So shout out to them saying, holding them accountable. Keep that content standard, that quality standard that we've seen, and we understand expansions and it's different, and getting someone engaged and keeping them week to week. But I will agree, as much as I personally like the story and where it's going, I will agree the way and the method that mimics this seasonal model, which they said they weren't going to do.
Yeah.
They have to get the smoke for that, and it was cool to see the community quickly respond to that.
Well, on this note, Travis, enjoy your bachelor weekend of gaming and nerddom. Should be a blast, I'm sure.
You don't
Strippers and
know.
D&D,
Might
baby.
be
Let's go.
Coke. We don't know.
Whole lot of
We don't know what
sodas.
we're
You're gonna be popping bottles.
You said a whole lot of sodas. Yo, you said.
bottle service.
Bottle service. Hey, get me another bottle from the fridge.
Yeah.
I mean, Travis splurged. He got the glass bottles. He went for the
We don't know
right
what we're
stuff.
doing.
Yeah.
Mexican
Mhm.
Coke, yeah. We don't know what we're doing. It could be a surprise. Maybe Teddy's coming over here right now to give me a lap dance.
Oh, hey,
I mean, I expect
We don't know.
that, but
what you doing now?
it's-
It's your business.
We don't know. So I don't know if Teddy was asking me what he should get me as a wedding gift.
Mhm.
And I was like, nothing, man, you're good. And then we started talking about it. And I remembered that a couple years ago, he was in the process of helping me build one of my PCs. And he
Remember
was
that.
like, hey, what case do you want? What case do you want? And he was like sending me different case options. And I sent him back a case that looks like a V8 engine. I already told you about this, E. And it looks like a V8 engine from that. And I said, what if you built me a Fast and Furious V8 PC? And he immediately looked at the case and went, this is the most insane case I've ever seen, because it's all curves and like
it's horrible. Those type of
it
builds are
doesn't look
awful.
it doesn't look at like it would be easy at all to like actually build a PC into. And so I said, what if as my wedding gift you built me that PC and you did it in a bald cap with the wife beater and the cross necklace.
Oh my, we really doing it.
And you did like a cosplay of Vin Diesel
Of
while
Vin
you were doing
Diesel.
it, like, I'm proud of you and Mia, and like just like totally like cast me as Brian and built me a PC. And so
And as he gives it to you, he says, "We are family."
yeah, we're family now, If so if any of you guys in the chat want to pressure Teddy into actually doing that, that would make my life a lot better.
I expect pictures later. That will be fantastic.
Obviously, if I get Teddy
Yes.
to cosplay as Vin Diesel,
Yeah,
you're for sure gonna be
that's gonna be
receiving
his
a text.
profile picture. I'm just gonna hack it
Yeah,
and keep
it'll
it
be
that way.
my contact photo for him on my phone for
Yep.
sure.
Well, on that one, I don't think I have anything else to add. I'll be playing some stuff online where I can, since my wife is going to be rehearsing for a show she's going to be doing at the end of July. So all of my evenings pretty busy for a good bit, but I got enough stuff to play. I'm just going to be busy covering everything I can as it is. So I'm not going to have a lot of downtime, but yeah, pretty usual stuff around here. It's hot as hell in Texas and probably going to be indoors a lot. That's kind of where my
90s over us by us too.
So what does it get down to? What does it get down to at night? That's the question. Because I looked up Colorado for an example. Curious
lately, it's been like mid to high 70s lately. But
for lows,
for lows, which is hot for us. So it's like the AC's now, on regularly,
on.
and then Yeah, perma on. We're hitting that 92, that 95. Surprisingly, got a lot of rain yesterday, which was like a weird thunderstorm, which was actually a nice break. I was like, oh god, this is cool. But yeah, no. Other than that, for me, like I said, finishing up Destiny chores and then getting ready for ILP Sunday before the holiday, and we will have Fighting Cowboy. I'm looking to talk souls with
Oh
him.
man. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
and he's the man. He's the man. And we've been talking for a while. Want to get some Erd Tree knowledge and talk about the patch and the community and reviews. And
Just a
I like,
good dude.
yeah,
Like
good
if you guys
dude.
haven't seen his content, a lot of souls, a lot of guides and things like that, but just a good dude. I even reached out to him just kind of briefly about something, and as
Yeah,
big as he is for still shooting me a reply, no,
yeah,
hats off. Just good dude.
good dude. So yeah, finally making that happen. That'll be fun. And yeah, then getting ready for a holiday weekend. A lot of birthdays I got to attend and things, people I got to see and stuff like that. I usually all my friends is all tied up right before July 4th, so
Mm.
it's always a busy time for me.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we
Hmm.
have excessive heat warnings because it's 97, but with the humidity and everything, they have the heat index maxed out to feeling like 111. That is the
Damn.
feels like temperature. But yeah, for the next foreseeable like 14 days or whatever the projection is, the low does not get below 80 degrees.
60. Look at Trav
Yeah.
chilling.
That's gonna
67.
be going to you in August is gonna be fantastic.
Yes.
That's gonna be great. But yeah, when it doesn't get below 80 now. That's just that is the
Wow.
baseline.
Wow.
So good times. Yep,
Good
it's
times.
warm here.
Mm.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you guys for joining us for episode 301 on this Thursday afternoon. Enjoy your afternoon, evening, or morning, wherever you guys are at. Thank you for being here. Thank you, chat, and my hosts as well. Always appreciate the time. For this episode, it has been the last word.
Last word.